Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. You are listening to the Daily Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. Hope your week is going well. Isn't it just wonderful right now that every single week we have sports to watch? Isn't it so awesome that we just have another weekend jam-packed full of things to watch? I just hope that things are going well for you this week. And yes, today, we were actually supposed to have a guest come on the show. He had reached out to me about coming on. And this guest had a very unique story. And so I was kind of psyched. And then I witnessed something that I have never witnessed in nearly 10 years of doing the Daily Dose. Dude just up and disappeared on me. I can't find him. I can't contact him. He just went AWOL. So I have no idea what happened. I know I told you I was chasing a guest. I don't know what happened to the guy. He just is gone. He went full Joe Biden. He's just out of the picture. So today, I will do my best Kamala impersonation and try my best not to giggle like a drunk. Hey, today on the show, football season is rolling. Baseball season is actually winding down, and we are going to be releasing our latest
Daily Dose Power Rankings.
Yes, we will count down the top 5 teams in Major League Baseball, in college football, and in the NFL. And we might have one other little something extra for you too. You know, like I said, I know that it's currently football season. You know how much I love college football and the NFL. And you know, college football and the NFL begin, and when they do, all the other sports just kind of disappear into the background. But do you realize there are only about 10 regular season games left in the regular season? Yeah, the wild card games will already begin on September 30th. Hey, that is less than 2 weeks away. Well, the wild card races, they're going to be interesting to watch in both leagues, but especially in the National League, where the Padres, Diamondbacks, Mets, and maybe Braves, they're all battling for just 3 spots. Hey, it's going to be fun to watch. But as the playoffs arrive, as they're getting here, who are the legitimate contenders? Right now, let's count down the top 5 MLB teams in our Daily Dose Power Rankings. And let's start off with the number 5 team in Major League Baseball. And I'll be honest, it's a team I don't trust. Because every year, they show some flashes, but then comes the postseason and they fold up like a cheap tent. And that's probably what is going to happen again this year. But hey, the Milwaukee Brewers could be a sneaky team in the postseason. Do you realize Milwaukee is the only team in baseball that ranks in the top 6 in runs scored and runs allowed, and they play really good defense? Yes, I know I worry about their playoff experience. I worry about what they do every single year, but I think the Brewers are a legit contender. At number 4 is a team that is also a bit of a surprise this year because the Cleveland Guardians finished 10 games under 500 last year. And here they are right now on our list at number 4. But Cleveland is solidly on top of the AL Central, and with that defense, and with that pitching, they've got to be considered a legit contender. Relief pitcher Emmanuel Clase is posting one of the greatest seasons in history. Yes, I said history. 44 saves in 46 tries. Yeah, that's history. We know that in the postseason, bats can cool off. Pitching and defense can carry you when the stakes get higher. For that reason, Cleveland is on our list today at number 4. I'm going to go ahead and place the New York Yankees at number 3 today. Hey, that lineup, it's just insane. Austin Wells is coming into his own, and then you have Juan Soto, and of course you have Aaron Judge. The Yankees currently boast the best record in the American League, and the most concerning thing for their opponents is the fact that their pitching might actually be getting better. Hey, if that pitching does come around, and their bats, which have cooled just recently, do heat back up, yeah, the Yankees can win it all. They are the favorite in the American League, and the Yankees are without a doubt a contender. I have them at number 3. At number 2, I have the team that honestly probably should be number 1, but they have slipped at times this year. Yes, they have a payroll of over $300 million, but they've also been really banged up at times this year. However, the Los Angeles Dodgers just might be getting on track to live up to that massive payroll. Hey, they seem to lose another player to injury every time they get one back, but they just have so many of them. It doesn't seem to matter. LA is on track to be the first team to have a .600 winning percentage for 6 consecutive years. That is going back since the Yankees in the 40s. Hey, this team just wins. They are so deep with talent, they actually might be capable of overcoming all those injuries and still winning it all. Oh, and by the way, Shohei Ohtani is having a historic season. Maybe one of the greatest seasons ever, and he's doing it kind of quietly. Why? Well, because Major League Baseball does the worst job of promoting their own league and their own stars and their own teams of any sports league on the planet. That's why. But the Dodgers are loaded, and I've got them at number 2. However, I will give the Daily Dose number 1 power ranking.
Daily Dose Power Rankings.
To the team that is on top of the National League, and that, of course, is the Philadelphia Phillies. Hey, pitching, check. Bats, check. Defense, check. Bullpen, check. My only concern for the Phillies would maybe be their starting pitching depth. But how many starters do you really need in the playoffs? 3? Maybe 4? I mean, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, they're dominant. The Phillies did go through a cold stretch in August, but now they're kind of regaining their footing, and that is bad news for the rest of the league. The Philadelphia Phillies are our Daily Dose number 1 team. Hey, the Major League Baseball playoffs are coming quickly, and we know every year there are surprises and there are upsets. You get a hot pitcher, you get a hot lineup, and a wild card team can send you home for the year. Don't look now. But Major League Baseball is just about to become watchable for a few weeks. To be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Okay, but it is football season. So we need to jump over to college football. The college football season is now 3 weeks into the schedule, and we are starting to learn a few things. But if I'm being honest, I'm starting to have more questions than answers. We have seen a number of top teams get tested already by unranked teams. So either the unranked teams are better than we thought they were, or the top teams aren't quite as good as maybe we thought they were. But right now, let's count down our top 5 Daily Dose Power Ranking college football teams, and this is based solely on what they have done on the field, not on what they might do, but what we've actually seen. I will start this off by angering some people because I'm going to place the Ohio State Buckeyes at number 5. Hey, I'll be honest. The Buckeyes might be the best team in the country. They are crushing their opponents. But so far, they have played the murderer's row of Akron and Western Michigan. This week, they're really going to beef up that strength of schedule by facing the Marshall Thundering Herd. Oh, and by the way, all of these games are in Columbus. Hey, I really do. I think Ohio State is probably one of the top teams in the country. But that current strength of schedule is so bad that I nearly didn't put Ohio State in my top 5 at all. I will give them this, though. They are playing bad opponents, but they are crushing them. So I'm going to put them at number 5. At number 4, I'm going to bump up the Tennessee Volunteers because the Vols have crushed some really bad opponents like Kent State and Chattanooga by like 70. Oh, but they did also smash number 24 North Carolina State 51-10. Quarterback Nico Iamaleava is the best quarterback that you might not have seen yet. This kid has a cannon for an arm, and his deep ball accuracy has been really impressive. Tennessee is a legitimate threat to play their way into the college football playoff. This team looks really, really strong. I've got Tennessee at 4. Next up at 3 is another team that got tested a little just a couple of weeks ago by South Florida. But then the Alabama Crimson Tide made a statement this past weekend by going into Madison and beating the brakes off of Wisconsin. No, the Badgers aren't what they've been in the past. But hey, Camp Randall Stadium is a tough place to play. And Bama beat them 42-10, and honestly, it wasn't that close. Quarterback Jalen Milroe is more than capable of leading Alabama to the playoff. I've got Alabama at number 3. We reached number 2, and I think this team might be the best team in the country, but they did have to battle for a win on Saturday, and they have shown at times their offense can get a little bit stagnant. They don't have the playmakers that we are used to them having year in and year out. However, the Georgia Bulldogs did open the season by smacking Clemson about the face and head to the tune of 34-3. Hey, Georgia is loaded, no doubt. But then, like I said, they also had to hold on for dear life against Kentucky on Saturday. They squeaked by the Wildcats 13-12. Kentucky did not let quarterback Carson Beck and that Dogs offense get rolling. In fact, they barely let him move the chains. Now, was that just a weird, hey, 18-year-olds being 18-year-olds, or do you have a reason for concern? Well, we're going to find out very soon, as you will see in just 1 minute. Yes, at the number 1 spot, I have the team that has so far on the field looked the most dominant, and that is the Texas Longhorns. Texas has crushed the lesser teams. Oh, and also, they went into the big house and ran number 10 Michigan off of their own field. Now, starting quarterback Quinn Ewers is a little banged up, so in comes backup Arch Manning, and the Longhorns didn't really seem to miss a beat. Now, Manning isn't quite the polished passer just yet, but he runs a lot like his grandpa Archie. He's dangerous. So right now, I have the Texas Longhorns at the number 1 spot on our Daily Dose Power Rankings. Now, you might be wondering, well, where's number 5 Ole Miss? Well, they haven't played anyone. Missouri and Miami just missed the top 5, but here's where things are going to get interesting, because this week we get some big matchups. Number 11 USC at number 18 Michigan. Number 12 Utah at number 14 Oklahoma State. Number 6 Tennessee at number 15 Oklahoma. And then next week we get number 2 Georgia at number 4 Alabama. Hey, a lot of these things are going to work themselves out. And they're going to work themselves out very, very soon. I'm telling you, college football is going to be so insane this year. I know we're used to college football. Oh, it's exciting. It's really fun. And then it fizzles out at the end. That shouldn't be the case this year. It might actually get a little bit better. Okay, but let's switch over to the NFL. And we are now just 2 weeks into the season, and we are still in the process of trying to figure out what is what. But we are starting to see some trends. More on that a little bit later. But right now, let's jump into our Daily Dose NFL Power Rankings. However, I want to go to the bottom 5. We'll get to the top in a minute. But right now, who are currently the 5 worst teams in the NFL? I'm telling you, this is a little bit tough. I'll start off at the number 28 spot. And I actually think this team is more talented than this spot. But the Tennessee Titans have one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league. And that just makes it tough to do much of anything. Hey, the Titans have a decent defense. They've got some good receivers when they're healthy. But when the game is in the balance, that offensive line is not very good. And quarterback Will Levis will try the old, lateral over his head for the winning score trick, which doesn't have nearly the success rate that you might think. For that reason, I've got Tennessee at number 28. At number 29, I will place a team that actually got their first win this past Sunday. Granted, they barely got it. And granted, they barely got it against another team on this list, but the Washington Commanders did get into the win column. Washington's defense, though, they're not very good. They have a really hard time getting off the field. And quarterback Jalen Daniels, he is actually showing me a little bit, but he takes too many hits. He was not goofy on Sunday. He returned to win the game, but That's not going to last. He either had better change the way he plays, or he had better be ready to be in the training room for a lot of his career, because he's not going to last. It just doesn't work. You can't do that in the NFL. The NFL has broken better quarterbacks than you. I like the direction that Washington is going, but it's going to take a while to rebuild this mess. Hey, the Washington Commanders, you're trending in the right direction. Keep your quarterback healthy, but for right now, you're at number 29. At number 30, I'm actually going to place my hometown Denver Broncos. Denver is still looking for their first win. Now, the Broncos are all in on rookie quarterback Bo Nix, but it's going to take some time to get him up to speed. The game is moving really, really fast for him right now. If you've watched any of the games, he doesn't look overwhelmed. He just doesn't have a whole lot of help around him. Well, I know that local fans are getting angry. Maybe Bo Nix isn't as good as we thought. Maybe Sean Payton isn't a good coach. Or, hear me out, maybe the Denver Broncos are playing this season $85 million in the hole because they're still paying Russell Wilson all that money. So Bo Nix doesn't have a lot of help around him. The running game is average. The receivers are not very good. The defense isn't quite consistent enough to carry this team. And as a result, right now, the Denver Broncos are not a very good football team. I think they could show improvement this season, but they've got a lot of work to do. And they probably would really benefit by having a down year and going and getting more draft help. Do that, get Bo Nix up to speed, and I think Denver is on the rise eventually. Right now, though, this isn't a very good football team. I've got them at number 30. At number 31, we're going to place the New York Giants. The Giants lost on Sunday to Washington, and this team, they might be on the verge of a massive rebuild. The general manager, the head coach, and the quarterback might all be out of work very, very soon. But this team has been built so poorly. You know, I remember the days when the Giants just seemed like they hit on every draft pick. They had these huge, talented offensive and defensive lines, and every year they were at least in the hunt. Those days are over. The New York Giants are a mess. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if they're going to survive the year before the carnage begins. I could see New York going out and just firing everybody and getting the rebuild started. The Giants are number 31, which takes us to number 32, where we land on the team that has no bright spots and no reason for any positivity whatsoever. And that, of course, is the Carolina Panthers. Hey, they don't have much talent. They have a bad, undersized quarterback, and they have a meddling owner. What is there to feel good about if you're the Panthers? Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. And now they are benching poor little Bryce Young in favor of Andy Dalton. I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference. The Carolina Panthers are the worst team in the NFL, and I'm going to be very honest. I'm going to be very transparent with you. When they come to Denver in week 8, I'm going to be very nervous because I honestly think that might be their chance to get a win. And for me, as a Broncos fan, that is going to be a very, very scary week. I don't want to be the team that Carolina beats, and they might be that. Denver might be that bad. It could be rough. Either way, whoever loses that game probably gets the top pick in the draft. That's the way this is trending. Maybe the Giants are in there somewhere, but that is going to be a rough week for me. I'm going to be real, real nervous. Okay, I've had enough. I'm not talking about my Broncos anymore. I'm sure you've had enough too. Let's switch over to the good side. And right now, we are going to count down the top 5 teams in the NFL. And again, I want to try to measure this based on what has happened, not on what we think could happen. And for that reason, I've got to place the New Orleans Saints as my number 5 team.
Are you kidding me?
I know, I'm kind of shocked by it myself. But the Saints have surprised everyone. They have started the season 2-0, and they're putting up some serious points doing so. They hung nearly 50 on the Carolina Panthers. Okay, big deal. A lot of teams are going to do that this year. But then, this last week, they went to Dallas and they put 44 on them. Now, I mean, I'm not really sure that I trust quarterback Derek Carr to do this when the game really matters, when the season is in the balance. But right now, yeah, he's playing with house money. No one's expecting anything in New Orleans. And right now, the Saints are rolling. I've got them at number 5. At number 4, I'm going to place the Houston Texans. Now, I realize the Texans could maybe rank higher than this. This was a playoff team just 1 year ago. And right now, they look like a bona fide playoff team. That doesn't look like a fluke. Hey, they look like a legit contender. Here's the only drawback I have with Houston and why I have them at 4 instead of a little bit higher. Their strength of schedule just hasn't been that strong yet. They have beaten the Colts, non-playoff team, and they have beaten the Bears, non-playoff team. Now, they beat them pretty soundly. The Texans look very, very real this year, though. And I kind of wondered if maybe they would get off to a slow start. Maybe the expectations would be too much. Hey, they went out and they smashed the Colts. They smashed the Bears. They're getting ready for their next game. Here's a question for you. How would the NFL world be different if the Carolina Panthers had selected C.J. Stroud instead of Bryce Young? You can sit there and say, oh, Carolina would be in the driver's seat now. Carolina would be a playoff team. I don't know if that's true. It sounds good when you talk about it at work and you tell your buddies, hey, all they did was miss on that. But when you think about Carolina and that owner and how dumb he is and how meddling he is, most likely they would have just ruined C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young probably wouldn't be doing much different, although he would have more help in Houston. But I don't know if things would change that much. Houston wouldn't be as good, and Carolina would maybe not be quite as bad, but probably still a little bit bad. But right now, I've got the Houston Texans at number 4. At the number 3 spot, I've got another team that is surprising us, at least so far. And a team that, again, I didn't expect to be here. If you told me going into the season, Clint, you're going to have not 1, but 2 NFC South teams in your top 5, I would have said, you're crazy. I won't have 1. I don't know if I'll have any. But right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking really, really strong. Now, hey, the Bucs looked good last year. So again, this doesn't feel like a fluke, but I was kind of expecting a letdown. Because one thing we have seen about Baker Mayfield in his career so far, he hasn't shown consistency. Looks good one week, looks bad the next. Looks great for one quarter, looks horrible the next. So I wasn't quite sure how much to trust Baker Mayfield. Hey, I don't know, maybe he just needed to be in Tampa because Baker is looking strong every single week, and so are the Buccaneers. They have now beaten the Washington Commanders easily. Okay, that's not a great win. But then they went into Detroit this last week and they beat the Lions. Hey, Baker Mayfield is playing well. The defense is getting stops when they have to have them. Again, I didn't expect that. I thought, Baker will take a step back and the defense might not be quite as good. Not the case. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, I've got them at number 3. I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills at the number 2 spot. Bills have started strong. And it's interesting because when the season started and we saw Buffalo playing Arizona and they kind of struggled with them for a little bit, they had to outscore them. A lot of people looked at Buffalo and said, well, Buffalo's not quite as good. Josh Allen, maybe he's peaked. Maybe the window is indeed closing on the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, except for that now we're kind of starting to wonder if Arizona might be better than we thought. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., that might be a really deadly combo. Maybe Arizona isn't that bad. And then this past week, Buffalo goes down to Miami and absolutely curb stomp the Dolphins. And I hate to say, with the whole situation with Tua, kind of ended their season for him. Hey, Josh Allen, he's playing at a really high level. But I'll tell you the difference for me this year with the Buffalo Bills. Running back James Cook is giving this offense a steady, consistent run game. We knew their defense was solid. Maybe not great, but solid. We knew Josh Allen can be dangerous. Sometimes as much for his own team as the other. But James Cook giving the Bills a consistent running threat, that to me changes this. That changes the Bills. They are no longer a team that has to ask Josh Allen, hey, go back and throw it 50 times. Go make something happen. No, how many times are we seeing Buffalo coming out and facing 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4? That is a huge difference for this team. And that to me is where Buffalo could be very dangerous this year. I've got the Buffalo Bills right now as our number 2 team on our Daily Dose Power Rankings. So we reach the number 1 team on our NFL Daily Dose Power Rankings. And who else could it be? I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs opened the season by beating the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, it was close. Yes, they needed some help from the officials. And then this week, they had to come from behind to beat the Cincinnati Bengals at home 26-25. And yes, it was close. And yes, they needed some help from officials, but they keep getting it. Hey, this team might be better this season than they were a year ago offensively. They won the Super Bowl. Beating Cincinnati at home, that's big because I didn't think Kansas City played their best game. And the Bengals did play reasonably well. It still wasn't enough. You can disagree with my power rankings. Let me ask you this. If I put you on a neutral field, Kansas City against anyone in the NFL, who would you favor over them? Yeah, for that reason. The Kansas City Chiefs are the number 1 team in the NFL right now. They are rolling again. Hey, I'm hoping against it, but they are rolling again. They are right now on top of our Daily Dose Power Rankings. Now, like I've said, these are our power rankings right now. But you know they're going to jump all over the place. By season's end, we'll have all kinds of things happen. The schedule will ramp up. Injuries, unfortunately, are going to take place. And we will have to sift out the teams that right now, they might be sitting at 2-0. But it's kind of fraudulent. And you might have a team sitting at 0-2 that you're going, yeah, but they're going to rally. They're going to get better. We've got to kind of figure out who are the true contenders and who is actually fake. But you know, it's interesting. We love the NFL because every year it feels like my team might have a chance. My team might have some hope. Yeah, because of parity. It does mean your team might have a chance. The line is so fine. It's so thin between being a playoff team and sitting at home. But that parity makes it really hard to figure out what is what. We'll keep tracking it all year, but right now, those are our top 5 teams. Hey, next week on The Dose, we will be keeping you up on all that is going on in the world of sports. And you know, we just might have to look at some early season trends so far in the world of college football and the NFL. So be sure you tune in next week and be sure you let a friend know to do the same. Hey, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for listening to the Daily Dose every week. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the text. Thank you for the tweets. Thank you for stopping by dailydosesports.com where we do have new articles going up. Yes, one went up this week about that Rocky Mountain Showdown. Colorado beat Colorado State. You know, I have a few thoughts on that, so you might want to stop by and check that out. But, you know, we put links to the podcast. We put links to the YouTube video over there. So I just want to say thank you for going over to Daily Dose Sports and checking that out. But more than anything, I appreciate you sharing the show, sharing the videos, sharing the articles with someone that you know. We absolutely love it when you do that. Have to say thank you to Jess P. Could not do any of this without you. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.